Viewers, don't be mistaken that attacks on Hindu temples are random acts of violence. This is naked Hinduphobia. It's a reminder of the growing menace of Hinduphobia. This is not an isolated incident, viewers. It's a part of a larger pattern of violence and intimidation against Hindus and their places of worship across the globe. The silence from those who usually cry foul about bigotry is deafening. Why are they mute when Hindus are under attack? Viewers, the attacks on Hindu temples in Canada with over 24 break-ins and multiple incidents of vandalism in the last 2 years are a clear indication of the rising tide of hate against Hindus. The desecration of Mahatma Gandhi's statues, the defacement of a parked sign named after Bhagavad Gita are further proof of this malice. It's shocking that an ecosystem is downplaying these incidents as mere anti-India sentiments instead of calling it out for what it is, which is blatant Hinduphobia. Think about it. The hypocrisy is staggering, viewers. Imagine a synagogue or mosque being vandalized. Would it be dismissed as anti-Israel or anti-Islamic country sentiment? No. It would be rightfully condemned as anti-Semitism or Islamophobia, if you will. Why should Hindus then be treated any differently? The latest attack has eerie echoes of what Prime Minister Modi and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath have been saying about Hindu unity. Remember, batenge to katenge, ek rahenge, nek rahenge. It's time to acknowledge that Hinduphobia is real and is being fueled by radical elements. What's most troubling is that those who described batenge katenge call as bigotry will not condemn this open hate against Hindus.
जो नारा भारत के कण कण भारत के जन जन का था और जन जन ने अपनाया कि बटेंगे तो कटेंगे, बटेंगे तो बांटने वाले महफिल सजाएंगे, अब वो नारा केवल भारत में ही नहीं बल्कि दुनिया भर के सनातनी, कनाडा में भी जो सनातनी हिंदू है वो उसको अपना रहा है।
बीजेपी ने जो पूरे मुल्क के अंदर ये स्टार्ट कर दिया है पोलराइजेशन, तो इसकी वजह से बहुत सी जगहों के ऊपर बाहर के मुल्कों में भी इस तरह की सिचुएशन बनने लगी है। क्योंकि वोट पॉलिटिक्स है, वोट के लिए वो अपील करते हैं कि इकट्ठे हो जाओ।
देखिए, जो बटोगे कटोगे स्लोगन है वो नकारात्मक है, ही आदरणीय अखिलेश यादव जी ने भी कहा, समाजवादी पार्टी ने कहा। देखिए, जो हमला हुआ है वो समाजवादी पार्टी उस हमले की निंदा करती है।
And as we speak, look at what we have, a reaction from Prime Minister Modi. He condemns the attacks on Hindu temples. He says, strongly condemn deliberate attack. That's the tweet posted by the Prime Minister from his official handle. It says, I strongly condemn the deliberate attacks on a Hindu temple in Canada. Equally appalling are the cowardly attempts to intimidate our diplomats. Such acts of violence will never weaken India's resolve. We expect the Canadian government to ensure justice and uphold the rule of law. But forget the Canadian government for a moment. We have an ecosystem that is doing everything to play down these attacks. Let's quickly open this up. Sanju Verma, the national spokesperson of Bharatiya Janata Party. Hindol Sen Gupta, author, historian. Sushil Pandit needs no introduction. Kamruzaman Chaudhary ji, political analyst. Vivek Silas, the national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Tausif Ahmad Khan, lawyer, political analyst, completes this panel. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, why should this not be condemned as Hinduphobia?
Yeah. No, basically I don't understand what's the definition of an Hinduphobia is. Pranesh, can you please correct the echo, please? I'm having echo in my ears out here.
Okay, we'll
the
fix
attack
that.
In Canada is an attack on the Indians itself. So basically my point is that the attack on the Indians in Canada is an attack on the Indian soul and the Indian self-respect. There is no doubt about it. But why are you taking this as an attack on the Hindus?
Why Hindu places of worship are being attacked? What should I call it? Islamophobia?
Are they not there in other parts of the... No, why? What's that? It's an attack on Indians out there. That's the way we should be
Mr. Chaudhary,
don't try to trivialize the entire issue.
You are trivializing your mocking sentiments of millions.
Try to bring
1 minute, Kamruzaman Chaudhary ji. 1 minute, sir. ये ऐसे नहीं होगा.
Mocking.
If a Hindu place of worship,
do not let me.
Mr.
Do not
Chaudhary,
let me complete the statement.
I will, sir. I will let you. I'll give you all the time. If you talk sense, you will get the time. tell me, it's a straightforward question. If a Hindu place of worship is attacked, what is it? Islamophobia?
Nothing. Nobody says that it's an Islamophobia or Hinduphobia out here. The debate is the Indians who have migrated to Canada have been attacked. Are there no Hindu temples in UAE? In Dubai also the Hindu temple has been opened. Why are those places not attacked?
But that's the question you should be answering, because you see, the radicals there are not being allowed by the government of the day. That's the problem with Canada.
That's the dispute. That's not a dispute. That's a total state's involvement in supporting these radical elements in Canada. We have seen the same comparison with some elements out here in India, wherein the state is complicit when some other religious places of worship or some other persons of a different faith are attacked in India.
See how easy it is for you to blame the state's complicity.
Because my ideology does not meet your ideology.
This is the problem. This is the problem. This is not about ideology. This is about This is about your hypocrisy and the hypocrisy of an ecosystem that is so close to your heart. Before we go any further, let me bring in Hindol. Hindol, why don't you define what Hinduphobia is so that we, set the record straight?
No matter how many times I define it, even if I write a book about it, Kamruzaman Chaudhary will not understand it. So I can't convince him. But what we are seeing in Canada is essentially an attempt to erase Hindu Canadians from Canadian soil. The Khalistanis absolutely make no bones about it. They openly say, throw all the Hindu Canadians out, send them back home. And it seems that the entire Canadian political system is complicit in this, trying to get Hindus, Canadians out of Canada. Now, if this is true, they should completely come out openly and say it, because this is one of the most ghastly things that's happening in the world today. The entire Canadian political system is silently watching when a bunch of murderous thugs are again and again targeting one particular community. Now, please remember, and on your show, I want to say this, even the most docile, even the most law-abiding person has a red line. There are 2.3% Hindus in Canada. There are 2.1% Sikhs in Canada. And there is a bunch of Khalistanis within those Sikhs who are doing this, this kind of nefarious activity. The day the Hindus in Canada get together and protest in really active manners, the Canadian political system will not know what to do. They should really be aware of the
Hang on, Hindol, you are saying the day the Hindus there get together, you will now be accused of spreading or perpetuating hate, because that's exactly the charge on Prime Minister Modi and Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath when they say batenge to katenge, ek rahenge to nek rahenge. That's the trouble. You see, Vivek Silas?
Here's my question. At the end of the day, how much longer should one community be threatened, hurt, their temples attacked, beaten, threatened on assassination? How long? Where is the red line? I ask on the show today, where is the red line? Can you please define the red line? When will Indian society and Hindu society define the red line? If this, what happened in Brampton in Canada, is not the red line, I ask you, where is the red line? When the temple is burned down, when people are beheaded, where is the red line?
Bataiye Vivek Silas, where is the red line? Who will draw that red line? Who will see that red line? बटेंगे कटेंगे जब बोला जाता है तो आप लोगों को गुस्सा आ जाता है, आप बोलते हैं ये पोलराइजिंग कमेंट्री है, हेट फैला रहे हैं आप. अब वहां कनाडा में लोग बोल रहे हैं एक रहना पड़ेगा.
नहीं, बिल्कुल. सबसे पहले तो प्रनेश जी, मुझे लगता है कि कैनेडियन गवर्नमेंट की जितनी भी निंदा की जाए उतनी कम है.
नहीं विवेक जी, मैं आपसे पहले ये पूछता हूं, ये जो है ये हिंदू फोबिया है कि नहीं? कमरुज़मान चौधरी जी को डर लग रहा है, आप बोल दीजिए, आप बोलिए कि ये हिंदू फोबिया है.
नहीं, हमारे हिंदुस्तान के जितने भी हिंदू हैं वो विश्व में चाहे कहीं भी हो, उनकी सुरक्षा का दायित्व भारतीय सरकार को है, ऑपोजिशन को भी है, समाजवादी पार्टी भी अगर जरूरत पड़ेगी तो आवाज उठाएगी. बिकॉज समाजवादी
आवाज उठाइए, जरूरत पड़ गई, आवाज उठाइए.
अटैक्स ऑन हिंदूज इन कनाडा.
ग्रेट, दैट इज स्टेप 1. नाउ लेट्स walk the talk. Is this Hinduphobia? Yes or no?
No, no. Anything, it's not. What do you mean by Hinduphobia? What do you
What
mean by
do you
that?
mean by
what do you mean?
Hinduphobia?
First tell me what do you mean
What
by
do
Hinduphobia?
you mean by Hinduphobia? ये पूछते हैं what do you mean by Islamophobia? No, 1 minute. विवेक साइलस कभी आपने पूछा what do you mean by Islamophobia? बताइए. क्यों नहीं पूछते आप? Why? What do you mean by Islamophobia?
Whether it is, as I said, whether it is Canada, Bangladesh, or anywhere
that
in the
is
world.
not my question, sir.
If the
why
Hindus
don't
are
you ask
threat,
what is Islamophobia? Sanju Verma, why don't they ask what is Islamophobia?
Pranesh, am I audible? Because there was
loud and clear, ma'am. Loud and clear. Good to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be on your show after quite a bit, Pranesh. First and foremost, let me address the basic issue at hand. There are panelists on your show who are asking what exactly is Hinduphobia. I'll give the example with hard data. As we all know, India is a 82% Hindu majority country. And I was sieving through some data and I found that we just have about 649,000 temples in India. Okay? But we have 6 lakh mosques too, despite the fact that Muslims form about 14 to 15% of India's population. Now, for every 232 Muslims, there is 1 mosque in India. But for every 1,680 Hindus, there is only 1 temple in India. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that despite India being a Hindu majority country, despite that, each day I come on various television debates and I see that there is an entire ecosystem of political pundits, lawyers, activists, so-called journalists, political commentators, what have you, who keep taking out the victim card and saying, "Arey, यहाँ तो हिंदू मेजॉरिटी कंट्री है इंडिया, इसीलिए हम मुसलमानों को मार्जिनलाइज किया जा रहा है." This is the same lot which keeps throwing Article 25, which talks about freedom to practice religion at you. But when the government of the day says they don't wear hijab, this is what the Karnataka High Court said, though the case is pending trial in the Supreme Court. They said, hijab is integral to a religion. So basically, Article 14, Article 15, Article 25, right to equality, right to life and liberty, freedom of religion, इन सब चीजों में तभी विश्वास किया जाता है जब it is suitable to them. It's either my way or the highway. Hinduphobia का मतलब destroying Hindu sentiment, destroying the perception of Hindus within the global diaspora, carrying out acts which vandalize Hindu temples and Hindu ethos. That is what Hinduphobia is all about. In the last 3 years, be it Leicester, be it Sunderland, be it Brampton in Canada, be it Manchester within the United Kingdom, be it Southport, be it Hartlepool, Hindu temples have been vandalized. And उसके बाद कहा क्या जाता है? Right-wing Hindu nationalists encouraged and abetted violence. Right-wing Hindu nationalists tried to vandalize Muslim property. जबकि सत्य तो ये है that, for instance, in Leicester in August 2022, Hindu temples were vandalized only because Hindus were celebrating the victory of India in Asia Cup.
You're right.
This is the hard reality of the day. But the most important point which Prime Minister Modi said is this: बटन तो कटेंगे, इसमें क्या बुराई है? इंग्लिश में कहा जाता है, यूनाइटेड वी स्टैंड, डिवाइडेड वी फॉल. तो अंग्रेजी में कहा जाए तो किसी को कोई आपत्ति नहीं है. हिंदी में कहा जाए बटेंगे तो कटेंगे. दी swords are out, the knives are out. And the other important thing is, एक रहेंगे तो सेफ रहेंगे. Why are the Muslims rattled? Because I don't see any other community getting rattled. I have friends who are Muslims, who are Christians, who are Sikhs, who are Jains. I never see any community playing the victim card like some radical Islamists. And I don't say all Muslims. There are some very well-educated, progressive Muslims. But because they choose to keep quiet, they are doing a disservice to the larger cause of the Muslim diaspora too.
So you're calling out the selective silence. Tausif,
Hinduphobia.
When Sanju Verma says, what is wrong with batenge to katenge, what would you tell her?
Look, today the incident in Canada, there's a scuffle between two groups, one who is protesting the killing of Nijjar and blaming Indian government for it, and the other who says that no, this is not a case. In fact, even the Indian government has denied any role of Home Ministry in the killing of Nijjar, and that's the whole dispute. We have seen the Canadian Prime Minister condemning this attack on the people who are there, the people of the Hindu faith of Indian people with Indian origin and all. So it's a welcome step by the Prime Minister of Canada, who was very prompt in issuing this statement, and I think the Prime Minister of India's statement also came after that. So, instead of trying to play politics over it, instead of trying to set a narrative over it, which BJP is attempting to do, we must not do that.
Okay.
Because let us state the fact. The fact is that there has been a has been a dispute over the killing of Nijjar.
I'll tell you more about facts, but Tausif, I want you to come to Zamanji. Clearly, he says sabko ek hona padega, which is why I said that the batenge katenge call has gone global. People are now realizing it. Tausif, you began by saying that this was a scuffle. 1 minute, you said that this was between two groups. What was the fault of the Hindu temple, sir? You tell me.
Yes.
What was the fault of the Hindu temple?
Yes.
The Hindu place of worship?
No. Firstly, the video that we have seen, the attack is on the people, the devotees there, not the building structure. Secondly,
okay, so if the building was attacked, then it would be Hinduphobia.
Hindu priest, the video that you showed. No, wait, please do not interrupt me. If we are to go by the advice of the priest, I will suggest that BJP must send Prime Minister Modi to contest election from Canada and take over Canada.
No, why?
Become the Prime Minister.
The other political parties, no. The so-called champions of human rights, where are they? Why can't other political parties also unite in this? Sushil Pandit, you see this warped logic, and I am not surprised one bit that only the devotees are attacked. This is not Hinduphobia. The structure wasn't damaged. How is this Hinduphobia, Sushil Pandit?
Pranesh, this is very putrid. This kind of argument stinks. I also heard Mr. Kamruzaman say that this is not Hinduphobia. This is not about Hindus. He also says these are two groups. It is being in denial. The slogans are throw the Hindus out. It is as clear as the terrorists say that we are waging jihad against India. Now, you have the same hypocrisy when you say that they don't have any religious inspiration, they are mere terrorists. When they invoke religious slogans, religious duty, when they invoke verses and then kill and maim and slaughter, you still are in denial. Now here, in as many words, the call is to throw Hindus out. The attack is at their religious place, on the devotees. You are still hair splitting whether it was on the shoulder or head of a devotee or on the pillar and the floor of the temple. This is the kind of hypocrisy that needs to be called out. He says there are two groups. I tell you, and it is an attack on Indians, I heard Mr. Kamruzaman say. There are all Indians of all faiths there. Vast majority of Sikhs in Canada are of Indian origin and patriots. Was there an attack on any Gurdwara or on the Sikhs? No. The attack is at a temple on the devotees, which makes it very clear. And you are still secularizing the attack. You know, this secularization kind of obsession to jihad, to terror, to all kinds of crimes committed against Hindu by name, specifically identifying as Hindus and then killing them, checking identity cards and then killing them, and still denying that, no, it is not Hindus. It is a crime. It is a secular crime. This secularization of jihad is what is a problem. This secularization of Khalistani movement is the problem. We have to call it by its name, by its real name, if we are serious about curing it, about treating it. Otherwise, we will keep going in the same loop, trying to misidentify the problem and then mistreat it.
No, I don't think this is a case of misidentification. This is a clear case of misleading the people. Kamruzaman ji, are you now clear what Hinduphobia is?
Pranesh, one thing I can tell you, here the dispute is between one Khalistani group and Indian origin who happen to be Hindus in Canada. There were similar attacks.
What does this Khalistani group stand for, Kamruzaman Chaudhary?
United Kingdom.
What does this Khalistani group, no, 1 minute. What does this Khalistani group stand for?
No, do you want me to suggest that Khalistanis are Sikh, that's why they are attacking Hindus?
You believe that?
Read out that statement.
You believe that?
I'm very sorry.
Do you believe that?
Nothing to do with
Are you
the
out
Sikh
of your
religion
mind,
or
Kamru
Hindu
Zaman
religion
Chaudhary ji?
or Islam.
Do you realize what you're
No,
saying?
this is-
Do you realize what you're saying?
This is-
Do you
no, you are
realize what you're saying?
suggesting-
You're painting
what
an
did I
entire
say?
community.
What
One
did I
minute.
say?
How dare you, Kamru Zaman Chaudhary?
This
How
is-
dare you? You haven't learned any lessons from history.
Did you get...
You haven't
Pranesh.
learned one bit of what happened to Indira
Pranesh.
Gandhi. Who are those people, sir? Which community would you blame? Would you blame a community?
Pranesh,
Kamru Zaman Chaudhary.
Pranesh, don't
This is
gaslight-
what happens.
don't
1 minute, sir.
gaslight
This
your
is what
audience.
happens. You know,
Give me
this
2
is
minutes
what
of your
happens
time.
when you play with
don't
fire.
gaslight.
You are doing it. You stand exposed. Sushil Pandit, what did he
Pranesh.
just say?
Pranesh,
Yes, of course. I mentioned that vast majority of Canadian Sikhs are patriots and they are Indians, but they are not attacked. They are not attacked. Hindus are singled out. Would you still call it Sikh terrorism? No. I pointedly said that this is Khalistani terrorism and it has to be called so. And the victims are Hindus and it has to be called so. Where is the hesitation? Why this hypocrisy? Why do you want to underplay it? Why do you want to camouflage it? Why do you want to dilute it?
Because
What is
I'll
it
tell
mean?
you, the reason, the hesitation is that if Mr. Chaudhary and the ilk, if they concede that this is Hindu phobia, the vote bank will get upset, Sanju Verma.
Yes. You know, Pranesh, I just want to add to what Sushil Pandit said. He made a very important point. But first and foremost, I completely condemn the reckless statement by Kamru Zaman, who we all know is not just another political analyst, but a bona fide Congress person. You know, but as they say, the apple does not fall far from the tree. And after Rajiv Gandhi's infamous statement, post the 1984 Sikh genocide, जब बड़ा पेड़ गिरता है तो धरती थोड़ी हिलती है. You know, that is exactly the line which Kamru Zaman is spewing. And he's now trying to window dress his reckless statement after you caught him with his back to the wall. But let me make one very important point. What is Hinduphobia? And in 20 seconds, I'll showcase this to you with hard numbers. These are numbers by Pew Research. You know, I see every time political analysts, start throwing Pew Research numbers at the BJP. Pew Research says that Islam is only 1400 years old. Christianity is barely 2000 years old. Whereas Hinduism is more than 5,000 years old. Despite that, today you have Christian population of 2.4 billion, 31% of the world's population. You have Islamic population of 1.9 billion, 24% of the world population. You have Hindu population of only 1.5 billion, barely 15% of the world population. And then Pew Research goes on to say, despite Hinduism being more than 5,000 years old, the reason that Hindus still constitute only 15% of the world population compared to Christians or Muslims is because Hindus do not try and appropriate. Hindus do not try and convert. Hindus do not try and forcibly say, जो आपका है वो भी आपका है और जो हमारा है वो भी हमारा है. But the other religions, the other cults, the other Abrahamic religions, this is not Sanju Verma saying, this is what Pew Research says. They have engaged in inorganic growth by encroaching on other religions, by encroaching on the rights of Hindus. That is what, Hinduphobia is.
You see, I want to address the fundamental problem. Just spare a thought, viewers. All of you watching this debate right now must be wondering, why is there so much hesitation in acknowledging what the problem is? The problem in this case is that Hindu places of worship are being attacked. Vivek Silas says, what is Hinduphobia? I asked him, what is Islamophobia? How did you come to know about it? He's in shock. कुछ बोल ही नहीं रहे विवेक जी.
मेरी तो सीधी बात है. I just want to ask, fine. We have already, the Samajwadi Party has condemned the attacks on Hindus in Canada. But I just want to ask, let me ask you one thing. What is the, give me a word. What is the government, central government of the Bharatiya Janata Party is doing for the security of Hindus in Canada or in UK, Australia, Bangladesh, anywhere in the world?
That's a great
What
question.
is the Bharatiya Janata Party?
That's a great
and what
question.
for is the government here in the central? What are they doing for the security of Hindus?
that
Don't
you would
make
ask
it an
Sanju
issue.
Verma, but usse pehle ye
What
bol dijiye,
what is your government
this
doing?
is Hinduphobia. What is the government doing about Hinduphobia? Boliye. I'm
what are you
giving
doing for the
I'm
security of
giving you the
Hindus?
question. You have to ask the BJP.
You come and debate.
आप
That is
पूछिए
not the
उनसे.
end of the
आप
that is
संजू
not the
वर्मा को
solution.
पूछिए. विवेक साइलस. Ask Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, this is Hinduphobia. What is the government doing about it? बोलिए. क्यों इतना हेजिटेशन क्यों है? हिंदूफोबिया क्यों नहीं निकल रहा है?
You know, Pranesh, let's be very clear. I say that the biggest problem is with जो कहते हैं ना घर का भेदी लंका ढाए. हमारे घर के भीतर बहुत सारे विभीषण हैं. विभीषण तो खैर he was very learned, even more learned than रावण. But ये जो घर के भीतर के विभीषण हैं, इन्होंने कहर मचा रखी है. I say that the biggest problem today is that there is an entire ecosystem which gives intellectual cover fire to Hinduphobia, intellectual cover fire to the genocide of Hindus in Bangladesh, intellectual cover fire to what happened by Khalistani elements, vis-a-vis Hindus at Brampton in Canada. These are the same ecosystem related bunch which gave intellectual cover fire when Hindu temple was vandalized in Birmingham.
But why
in
do they
September
do it? For a
2022.
few votes, Hindol Sen Gupta from
Exactly.
Bangladesh to
Appeasement
Brampton
based
to Australia, US. Why is this denial?
Because Hindus are traditionally seen, you see, the left spread this canard for many, many, many years. Even today they say it. There is no such thing as Hinduism. There is no, it's an invented thing. There is no Hindu. There are only castes. And therefore, after decades and decades of this kind of propaganda, Hindus are seen as a weak constituency who are never together, can be easily attacked. The other reason for this attack, and mark my words, Pranesh, this attack will grow. The other reason for this attack is almost in every country where there is a significant Hindu population, it is usually the most prosperous, the most educated, the most well-integrated population. But one thing Hindus never did, they never really actively participated in politics. So which means they have the wealth, they have the education, they have the learning, they have the integration, but they don't have political power. All of this makes them a perfectly vulnerable community in country after country. The same thing that's happening in Canada is happening in the UK, in pockets in the US, in some parts of Australia. They've tried to do it, the Khalistani goons. The same thing you will see happening all around because they are seen as a vulnerable.
It is the Islamist radicals. You are absolutely right. Kamruzaman ji, I have asked Vivek Silas, I have asked you, I have asked Tausif. Why can't you say that this is Hinduphobia?
Pranesh, if you permit me at least a time to complete my statement, then I'm okay. Otherwise, I'm not going to be a part of an echo chamber out here in your studio.
There is no echo chamber, sir.
Echo
आपने complain किया, echo आ रहा है. अब आप देखिए, पहले आपने बोला कि turret में echo. Now you are complaining of an echo chamber. Kamruzaman ji, ऐसे तो मत कीजिए, please.
And that's the problem. That's the problem with your comprehension.
Yeah, I see. You see.
That's the problem with your comprehension.
That's okay.
When I say
educate me, sir. Enlighten me today.
Echo. There is a difference with the comprehension.
ठीक है.
There are 1.2 billion Hindus in the world, out of which around 40% of the Hindu population is in the Gulf, and that is a Muslim country. There is no Hinduphobia so-called, or there is no atrocities on the Hindus in the Gulf countries. There might be a number of reasons why the Hindus are there in the Gulf. There are plenty of people who are in the Canada, US, as well as in the European countries, as well as in the South Pacific Ocean also. But the point out here is that an attack, a sectarian war that is going on in Canada between the terrorist groups of Khalistanis and our Indian groups out there, that has been somehow or the other made into a Hindu versus the Khalistani war, and that has to be replicated in India with the elections coming up in Maharashtra and Jharkhand and some by-elections coming up.
So Khalistanis are attacking Hindu temples because elections are approaching. This is a new law. I'll tell you, you're talking about Gulf countries and pardon my comprehension abilities. There's a gulf between what you're saying and where logic lies, Kamruzaman Chaudhary ji. And that gulf is quite big because otherwise you would not be saying what you're saying. You have now turned it into an election issue. The Khalistanis are taking orders, I don't know, from the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi or who have you. I don't know. आपके लिए अब ये इलेक्शन इशू हो गया. Sushil Pandit, can you comprehend this? I can't. He has certified that the anchor can't.
I don't know whether, who does he connect the Bangladesh violence against Hindus, which is raging for the last 1 month, pre-Durga Puja and post-Durga Puja. I don't know who does he attribute the violence against young, prepubescent Hindu girls abducted routinely in Pakistan and the population dwindling to less than 1.5% in Pakistan. I don't know who does he attribute this violence to, which election, which political project. The problem
Fertility rates are to be blamed for the dwindling Hindu population. Sushil Pandit.
Can you imagine? So they have all kinds of reasons to rationalize it, to justify it, to divert your attention from it, but will not call it by the real name that it has. I would, Pranesh, in fact, if you allow me, I would call it Hindu hate. Hinduphobia is irrational fear of Hindus.
Right.
I don't think Hindus threaten anyone. I don't think there is anything to fear from Hindus. It is pure, unadulterated hate against Hindus, visceral, venomous hate against Hindus that drives them. I don't think Bangladeshi Hindus threaten anyone or there is any fear invoked by their presence. It is the extermination project of Hindus within the jihadi lands and minds where they want to erase us from the face of earth.
But the moment you say these things, you see, you are communal, you are deeply polarizing, you are, I don't know what part of an echo chamber that Kamruzaman Chaudhary ji will not be a party to. We've run out of time on this one. I thank some of you for joining us on debate number 1. Let's move on, viewers.